A Sheep Fair by Thomas Hardy. The day arrives of the autumn fair, and torrents fall. Though sheep in throngs are gathered there, 10,000 all. Sodden, with hurdles round them reared, and lot by lot the pens are cleared. And the auctioneer wrings out his beard, and wipes his book, bedrenched and smeared, and takes the rein from his face with the edge of his hand, as torrents fall. The wool of the ewes is like a sponge with the daylong rain. Jam tight to turn or lie or lunge, they strive in vain. Their horns are soft as fingernails, their shepherds reek against the rails. The tied dogs soak with tucked-in tails, the buyers' hat-brims fill like pails, which spill small cascades when they shift their stand in the day-long rain. Postscript. Time has trailed lengthy since met at Pummery Fair, those panting thousands in their wet and woolly wear. Every flock long since has bled, and all the dripping buyers have sped, and the horse auctioneer is dead, who, going, so often said, as he consigned to doom each meek, mewed band at Pummery Fair. Okay, this is by Thomas Hardy. Thomas Hardy is very famous for his as an author, also as a poet, and he was also an architect. He came from South London. So this is a description of an agricultural sheep fair. Yeah, this is a fair held in autumn, and it's a very good, very nice description. It gives you a very clear idea of what's happening, and it's been raining all day, and they everybody in the local area have bought their sheep to sell, and this is important for them because this is money for the winter. This is the product of their work, and they're all out there standing in the rain, and it's pouring with rain, but they've got to be there. And this is showing how hard farming life is for everybody, including the sheep. The day arrives of the autumn fair, and torrents fall. So everybody's been waiting for the autumn fair, and it starts to rain, and it rains really heavily. Though sheep in throngs are gathered there, 10,000 all, sodden with hurdles round them reared. Okay, so there are throngs of sheep, there are huge numbers of sheep, they're all there together, 10,000 sheep, and they're sodden, they're very wet. If something's sodden, it's completely soaking wet, with hurdles, with barriers round them reared. Here, to rear, to lift up, but these hurdles have been recently erected because this is a temporary event. So there are 10,000 sheep there with hurdles round them, enclosed in pens. And lot by lot the pens are cleared, and the auctioneer wrings out his beard. So there's an auctioneer, and he is selling the pens of sheep, the enclosures of sheep, one by one. And the auctioneer, he's absolutely drenched, and he wrings out his beard, and the water comes out of it, and wipes his book bedrenched and smeared. So the book that the auctioneer has, where he writes the details of each sale, yeah, it's drenched, it's covered in water, and the writing is smeared, it's been moved around, yeah, it's smudged because of the rain. And takes the rein from his face with the edge of his hand, Yeah, so he wipes the rain off his face to get rid of it. He's very wet as well, as torrents fall. So there are torrents of rain. There is torrential rain that is falling, falling, and everybody is wet. The wool of the ewes is like a sponge with the day-long rain. So the wool of the ewes, a ewe is a female sheep. So the wool on the female sheep, it's like a sponge with the day-long rain. Okay, because most of the sheep are females, because they only keep the males for breeding, and then normally if a ram is born, then it's killed to be eaten. Okay, so the sheep are suffering as well, and here he continues to talk about the suffering of the sheep. Jammed tight to turn or lie or lunge, they strive in vain. So the sheep are in their pens, and they're jammed in tight. There's no room for them, and it's difficult for them to turn or lie down or lunge, move forward. They strive in vain. So they're striving, they're trying to get out. Their horns are soft as fingernails. Okay, so notice when you are in the bath, your fingernails go soft, and the horns of a sheep are also made of keratin, and this makes the horns soft. Their shepherds reek against the rails. Okay, so reek, you may know this word as in to smell very bad, but this is actually an old usage of the word, to reek, where vapour is coming off them. So the shepherds are leaning against the hurdles, and you can see this water vapour coming off them because they're so wet. So everybody's having a hard time with the water. The tied dogs soak with tucked-in tails. So there are sheepdogs that are tied up, and they've got their tails underneath them. They're trying to make themselves small. The buyers' hat-brims fill like pails. So the hats that the buyers have, the edge, there's water inside the brim of the hat, and it fills up like a bucket, which spill small cascades when they shift their stand. So when they move, suddenly water falls off their hats in the day-long rain. So this is an important event, and nobody would be there if they didn't have to be. Yeah, this is business, and everybody needs to do business to sell their sheep or to sell their wares. But it's pouring with rain and it's uncomfortable, but everyone keeps going because this is the reality of country life, of being a farmer. It's hard, it's not easy. And then we have a postscript. Okay, the postscript now goes into the future. Time has trailed lengthy since met at Pummery Fair, those panting thousands in their wet and woolly wear. So he's now thinking back to this day of rain and the sheep at Pummery Fair. Yeah? And those panting thousands, well, the thousands of the sheep, and to pant is when you've been running, and I think the sheep were nervous. So when they're nervous, they start to pant in their wet and woolly wear. So normally wear we use for clothes, but the sheep have this wool, and they wear their wool effectively. So the sheep he's remembering how wet the sheep were. And every flock long since has bled. So bled from to bleed. So he's saying that all of these sheep are dead now. Yeah, they've been killed and eaten. Yeah, and all of these flocks, these groups of sheep, have died a long time ago. And all the dripping buyers have sped. So sped from the verb to speed. Yeah. So, and all these buyers, the people who were buying the sheep who are soaked with water, they left speedily when they could. And the horse auctioneer is dead. So if your horse, you can't speak properly. Yeah, so the auctioneer, he's probably been talking for hours, and that's why he's hoarse. But now time has passed, and the auctioneer is no longer alive. Who going so often said. So what an auctioneer normally says is going, gone. And he uses his hammer. Yeah, so yeah, at the end of every lot he says going, gone. Who going so often said. And he consigned to doom each meek mewed band at Pummery Fair. So yeah, he sold these sheep to their buyers, to their doom, because I guess most of these sheep were going to be killed and eaten. Yeah, and these meek, humble, timid, mewed. Okay, here, let's see. Most normally today, the verb to mew, a cat mews. Mew, mew. But I think in this is talking about closed in. Yeah, closed in by the pens. So all of these timid, enclosed sheep. So each band of sheep, each flock of sheep. Yeah, and by selling them, he's combined them to doom, to their death at Pummery Fair. So I think this is a lovely description of life in the country and of a day of sales at Pummery Fair. So enough. If you enjoyed the video, give it a rating, subscribe to my channel, and I will see you soon. Bye for now. A Sheep Fair by Thomas Hardy.